watch, and it seems like the strategies, while similar on some respects for the fifth deck, aren't exactly the same across the board, and I think some players have just come more prepared than others.
Yep, some players have come with a fifth deck that they understand, just throw it in there as an extra deck, and some have come with a coordinated 5-deck strategy. Easy to say, why didn't they? But they didn't expect necessarily to reach the top 8 at the point where they're submitting decks. You just want to get there, get the money, and take your chance.
Fujitora here will have to respect the potential weapons and Murloc War Leaders in the following turn. So my assumption here is he's going to go for an attempted blowout with Cabal Talon Priest buffing the Northshire Cleric to as high a health total as possible. He already has the Inner Fire Divine Spirit, and frankly, unless ScreaM gets the Spellbreaker, it's very hard for him to shut that down.
What do you do next turn? Do you go Radiant, Divine, Inner Fire, smack you, see what happens, and just see if Spellbreaker happens?
I think it's a bit too early. It depends what ScreaM ends up doing. I wouldn't be surprised to see him like sort of wear away at the Northshire at some point.
But he's not, so now that opens the door if Fuji wants to take that play, but he's going to build it a bit longer. Twilight Drake, adding consistency to the board. I think if the pickup had been different, he may have had to go for it.
Yeah, what this does too for Fujitora is it actually opens up just I wouldn't say a more stable kill, but a faster kill as it's in a single turn. The Protector, the bane of all combo priests, has shown up. But I mean, it's accompanied by, enough pressure on the other side of the board to sort of combat it.
I mean, this 1/8 is already out of control.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Spellbreaker is the only answer, and Tyrium, of course, in the deck to lock it out. There is the occasional Megasaur that we have to account for that gives the poisonous buff to one of the Murlocs, but there aren't enough Murlocs at the moment to really make that a reality. Now, Fujitora going somewhat all in. Somewhat all in is the understatement on the Northshire Cleric, but it's demanding an answer. It's Megasaur poisonous or Spellbreaker.
That doesn't work. And although it's not actually lethal next turn, it kind of is, because he's played the flankers. The Radiant Elementals are going to be the guys that make sure the way is clear against another Protector or something like that. And this Northshire Cleric should be able to get 2 connections in here.
There are about 3 cards in the deck for ScreaM that can reliably close, shut down that minion.
But they're going to not just need to shut it down, they're going to need to make sure that nothing ever again hits you in the face, because 16 turns out is a lot. And there'll be other ways for Fuji to generate stuff going on, like Potion of Madnesses later on. So it sets up the win nicely.
Yeah, I think Fuji's pretty all in. I mean, if he gets Spellbreakered here, he just ends up falling behind, way too far. So this is clearly him just committing to the most all-in play that he can come up with. And it looks like ScreaM's just going to go wide as much as he can to give himself the most Murlocs.
Take Eye for an Eye!
Megasaur can do it.
Hope he makes a mistake. I don't blame this. This is mathematically awful, but cosmetically, go for it and see if they mess it up. I'm happy with this.
This looks like a Noble Sacrifice line of play.
Yes, it does. I like it a lot, because he'll probably attack with a Radiant first here to force it through.
Yeah, it's the problem with the, no matter which secret you pick up, your opponent's rarely ever playing into it. So you just get the value out of the...
Is it lethal if he walks into it with the War Leader and the Champion's Maul coming back the other way? If Fuji goes down to 12, War Leader, Champion's Maul's a lot of damage.
But he's never walking into it. It looks like a Noble Sacrifice, so you never attack with your 16-16 into Noble Sac.
That's what I mean. You attack with the 2-2 into the Noble Sac. Oh, I see, yeah. But you might attack with the 2-2 into a minion because you don't want it to go face.
That will happen. Oh my goodness! Fuji knows what's up. He's going to play clearing game here. He's going to play a clearing game. There is no way. Now, Spellbreaker could come off the top for ScreaM and shut this down. Tyrium shows up to shut down the Northshire Cleric just in time.
Time that he bought himself.
By pretending this was Noble Sac.
No, by having Eye for an Eye as well, because Eye for an Eye would have probably won in the game, and Fuji had to play around it. He had to respect it.
But I think Fuji had to respect it to an extent. I think he was mostly worrying about Noble Sac, because you don't attack a minion if you think it's Eye for an Eye, right?
But if you go face, he loses.
Right.
Or I think he loses. I didn't actually add it 100%. But yeah, either way, that turn was bought, but Fuji's still in it. But
unbelievable.
Insane.
Well, there is still a chance for Spellbreaker to come back and resave the game. Not to giggle about that too much. Cold Light's here can definitely help here. But again, Fujitora is starting to turn the corner once again as he picked up I mean, Draconid Operative from the turn 5, I think, was one of the most key cards here, as he's able to get himself card advantage.
Yes.
Going forward. He got a Blessing of Kings, which is not an expected outcome in the matchup.
And now we're back to this sort of sit there, trade a bit, wait a bit, and Fuji will have chances to do that as I'm just checking Shadow Visions.
Could double that up again.
8, 16, 19.
I mean, he's got the potential to, again, turn the Northshire into an absurdly high health minion once again. Will not find it, though.
Shield's okay, though. I don't think he's in necessarily too big of a hurry here. He wants to get cards out of his hand, which his hand is failing to do. But he's still got the board. Like, we looked at the insanity that looked like he was going to win early, but he still managed to keep control of the board, build up his hand of good stuff throughout this. And now he gets the Divine Spirit in a 5 for next turn.
Yeah, there are no double Terrams in the deck, so we're on Spellbreaker plan here, and even that might just not suffice. Spellbreaker into Divine Favor could sometimes help. The Maul is just going to be an attempt at dumping the size of the hand here. You need to dump that Murloc and pray for the best. The Champion's Maul at least gives him some game if the 1/1s are somehow usable. With the Blessing of Kings as, you know, buff targets. Really can't.
Uses the Divine Favor for the maximum. I'm not sure that's the right way to use that even here.
Oh, that's about all he's got.
I think he could have used it for fewer cards and just tried to hit a Spellbreaker and play it.
So he just draws 3 instead.
Doesn't really matter. Fuji's going to get this done, I think, here. 14, 16, not quite.
Not quite, no.
But
still a bit off.
Deathwing will get it done eventually at this point.
Powered Shield does bring the minion up to the 18 damage, though. So that is, in fact, going to close it out.
Fujitora, who has just been the most cocky player throughout the tournament, sidesteps some bits and pieces there to make sure this is safe, goes through and is in the final. 60,000 guaranteed and a chance at $150,000. If you're cocky, you better back it up.
But he's being a lot more collected now than he was throughout the series. You know, like earlier in the tournament, we've seen him being a lot more outspoken, acting out some of the warranted arrogance in some cases. Going to shake hands with his opponent and the tap on the back. Now,